Morning, everyone. Am I audible? Can someone please respond whether I am audible or not?
Utkarsh and Shubham, am I audible?
Yes, Bhaiya.
Okay.
Yes, Bhaiya.
Okay, please ask your friends to join. We'll be starting in a few minutes.
Am I audible now?
We'll be starting exactly at 11:20 a.m. So please ask your friends to join too.
So, how many questions did you all solve for yesterday's contest? You all can unmute and
Three, Bhaiya.
Could you please repeat?
Three questions.
Three questions in div 4, na?
Uh,
should
yes. Deep four. Deep four.
Fine. Okay.
anyone else wishes to share
I
how many they have
I
solved?
actually
You can
solved two. I solved two, but I could have solved three. But I ran out of time because I started very late yesterday. So,
okay. So I think we should start the PCD for today. Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Okay. So the first question for Deep 4 was a chef is hosting a pizza party and has invited a number of boys and b number of girls. So chef is himself also a boy and we must include chef also. So we will take a and b as input and we will also do a is equals to a plus 1 because we are including chef also. Okay, so it is mentioned that a boy eats 4 slices of pizza while a girl eats 3 slices. So, total number of slice which will be eaten is 4 into A plus 3 into B. Uh, Further, a single pizza has 8 total slices. So, how many pizzas do I need? So, do you think that if I do S divided by 8, then this will give the correct answer?
no, Bhaiya, because s divided by 8, if s is a multiple of 8, then it would give the correct answer, or else it will give one less pizza. And also, it will be
Yes.
4 into a plus 1 because of the chef.
I have done A is equals to A plus 1 just before that step.
Oh, sorry, Bhaiya.
Okay. Uh, yes, so you are correct. If S is a multiple of 8, then divided by 8 will give correct answer, else it will give wrong answer. For example, if suppose I get S as 10, then 10 divided by 8, it is equals to 1 because in C++, you take if numerator and denominator both are integers, then your answer will also be in integer only. So 10 divided by 8 will give me wrong answer because one pizza will have 8 slices. Still, I need 2 slices. So another pizza also I need. So the correct answer should have been 2. So this is wrong. So how can you resolve this? Can anyone tell?
I am using if and else statement. Like if equal to 8, then we will print just s, and if not equal to 8, we will add one more.
Yes. So your technique is that if S it is a multiple of 8, then we will simply give S by 8, else S by 8 plus 1. Correct?
Yes, dear.
Yes. This also we can do. Anyone can suggest any other approach?
I used a ternary operator s percent 8
Uh,
equal to 0 question mark s by 8
okay.
colon.
Yes. Yes, means you are also using condition only. Okay, so let me teach you a different technique for such thing. Suppose x divided by y I wish to find, and x is less than y. This condition uh, means it is compulsory. So if I wish to find this type of operation, like if x is a multiple of y, then give me x divided by y, else give me 1 greater than x divided by y. So for this type of operation, do you think this equation will give me correct answer? What are your thoughts on this? For example, let us take the above thing only, 10 divided by 8. 10 divided by 8. So I am basically doing 10 plus 8 minus 1 divided by 8. So it comes out to be 18 minus 1, 17 divided by 8. Answer is 2. So for this, it is giving correct answer. So do you think it will universally give correct answer? This equation for such type of question? Anyone please unmute and tell whether you think this equation is correct or not. Okay, so basically this equation will give you correct answer, because see what we are doing, we are basically increasing. See, if I increase x to x plus y, then basically I have increased my answer by 1, even if it is a multiple of 1. If x is a multiple of y, still my answer will give 1 greater than my required answer. And if it is not a multiple of y, then my answer will give correct only. But see, we have done a wrong calculation of that. Instead of that, we will be adding y minus 1 with x. So is that clear? Like 10 divided by 8. Suppose let us take a multiple of 8. 16 divided by 8, the answer should be 2. But if suppose I do 16 plus 8 by 2, so my answer is coming out to be 3. Correct? So this is not my correct solution. My answer should have been 2. But for see 17 divided by 2, if I do 17 plus 8 divided by 2, then my answer comes out to be 25 divided by 3, 8. See, 8, and here also answer should have been 8. Means this, if I do x plus y, then my answer is coming out correct for not multiples, but it is giving wrong answer for multiples. So instead of x plus y, I will do x plus y minus 1. Means 16 plus 7 divided by 8. Then this will give me 2 as the answer only. So is it clear till now about this equation? Okay, so let me show you the code. Is my screen visible? Can anyone please tell whether my screen is visible or not?
Yes, we are
Yes,
visible.
Bhaiya, it is.
Okay. So basically I am taking a comma b as input. I have done input over here of a and b. A plus plus I am doing because I am including chef also. So I'm including chef. That's why I'm increasing a by 1. I am finding total number of slices which will be required, and then I have just used that equation s plus 7 divided by 8, because means basically I am doing s plus 8 minus 1, means I am adding 1 less than the denominator to my numerator to get the correct answer. So is this solution clear to everyone? Anyone has any doubt? Anyone has any doubt in this solution? So should we go to the next problem? So the next problem was distinct distinct two subarrays. So how many of you all solved this problem? Okay. You all can raise hand or react or write in the chat box if you wish. Okay. So many of you all have solved the problem. So can any one of you tell what approach did you use to solve this problem? Any one of you can unmute and tell what approach we have used.
For a smallest distinct subarray, if it is in continuous form, we just need to check if any of the two, means its length will be two elements. So we need to only check that there exist only two distinct elements. So that's the thing we are doing. Or else, if the whole array has only single element like 1 1 1 1 1, then we print out -1 or else 2.
Yes, correct. So basically, this question states that if a array is good, uh, if it has two distinct integers, means if a array has two different integers, then the array is good. Else, the array is bad. And if the array is bad, then the array is good. So I need two unique minimum. So if my array is good, then what should be my minimum answer? So it is clear that if my array is good, my minimum answer will for sure be 2 only. Correct? Because suppose array is containing 1, 2 and 1, 1, 1, 3. So why should I take 1, 2 and 3? Because it is, yes, 1, 2 and 3 is good because, okay, it mentions that exactly two distinct elements. Okay. So array is good, shortest possible good array. Okay, so it must be containing exactly two elements. So 1, 2 is good, and exactly two element 1, 3 is also good. 1, 1, 3 is also good, and also this is also good. But 1, 2, 3 is not good because it is having three distinct unique elements. But the questions mentions that it must only have exactly two distinct elements. So 1, 2, 3 is not good, but 1, 3 is good. 1, 1, 3 is good. 1, 1, 1, 3 is good. 1, 2 is good, and all combination with it 1, 2, 1, then 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, etc. etc. So see, among all this, if I only take this one, then I'm getting the shortest possible good sub error. Correct or wrong? Is this logic clear to everyone that I need to have two unique elements exact? So if I wish to have two unique elements, then why to increase the length of my sub error? Just if A and B are the unique elements, then just A and B only I will be considering as good. And the length of A and B is 2. Is this logic clear to everyone? So how will be the implementation of this problem? So one of the methods can be that I will take the array as input. Then I can sort the array. After sorting the array, suppose if I find the first element is equal to the last element, n is the size of the array. If this is equal to the last element, okay, so you all tell me what does this statement signify? Any on one of you can unmute and tell that if I have sorted the array and the first element is equal to the last element, then what things are this is this statement signifying?
Only one element is present, like it can be repeated, but no two distinct elements are present.
Yes, correct. So this boils down to the thing that only one distinct present. Suppose if we can break it down into two cases where the length of the array is 1, and another case we will be breaking down when the length of the array is greater than 1. So suppose if length of the array is equals to 1, so for this my a of 0 and a of n minus 1, that is 1 minus 1, which boils down to a of 0 only, so both are signifying the same element, correct? So this condition will always hold true for n is equals to 1. So if I am checking the same element only, means only one element is present, and if only one element is present, it is for sure that that one element means in the entire array only one unique is present, correct? If my n is greater than 1, so my a of 0 and a of n minus 1 both will be denoting different indexes, correct? n And if those two different indexes are equal, and also provided that the array is sorted, means compulsorily it is that the entire array is containing only one element, means only one unique element, correct? Suppose my array is this, here is the index 0 and here is n minus 1. I am telling that the array is sorted. Suppose 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So see 1 and 5, they are having distinct values. So I can tell that one of the assertion I can make that it is containing at least two unique elements. It may be that it can contain more than two unique elements. Like over here, it is containing five unique elements. But if my array is 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, and then 2, then 1 and 2 are not equal and it is containing two unique elements. Means if a of 0 is not equals to a of 0 is not equals to a of n minus 1, from this I and if the length of a is greater than 1, from this I can make a conclusion that uh, number of unique Correct. So this is only what was required in my question. That if I am having two or more unique elements, then just print any two unique elements. Means my answer will be any two unique elements whose length is 2. So I will be sharing the code of this question. Is my screen visible? So the code of the question is as follows. I am taking in 10. I'm so it was a test case based problem. Like the first line will be containing T, which is denoting number of test cases. So I have basically taken T as input, and after that, each line means there are, suppose three means three test cases will be there, and for each test case, the first line is containing n, the length of the array, like 2 is the length of the array, and then the second line is containing n number of integers, which is the array itself. So I have done that only, while t minus minus means it will run t times, and for each test case it is taking n as input, then it is taking the array as input, then I am sorting the array in ascending order. After that I am checking that whether the 0th index is equals to n minus 1 or not. If it is equal, then I'm giving output as -1, and then I am returning. Else, my answer is always 2. Is the code clear, or anyone has any doubt in the code? Over here, vi means vector of int. I have defined it in my macro. That is why I have directly written vi. INP of a, basically I am having a function called INP which will be taking input in the array. Short of a, it is just short of a dot begin comma a dot end, means basically I'm sorting in ascending order only. I've defined a function short of it, that is why I'm using it directly over here, I think so. So INP I have defined over here. It will be taking input in a vector, and then short also I should have defined somewhere. Yes. So short of a is defined over here. I am doing that only, sorting from a dot begin to a dot end. Is the code clear to everyone, or anyone has any doubt? Okay. So let us start with the third problem. So the third problem, how many of you all have solved the third problem? Okay, two of you. So could you share the approach of this problem? You can tell the core logic.
Uh, for each vitamin, we can store its minimum product value in an array. Then we can sort those product values and can simulate, like taking one at a time, two at a time, three at a time, and calculate all its costs using prefix sum.
Yes, it is correct. So basically, what does the question state? That there are n different food items, and each food item is providing you a vitamin called AI, and the cost of the food item is BI. So basically, you have two vectors, A and B, where a particular index in A denotes the vitamin that you will be getting from the food item, and that index only in B, it denotes the cost of the food item. Means like this, vector, suppose vector A is as A1, let us start do zero base indexing only. A0, A1, A2, dot 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 dot, and B is B0, B1, B2, like this. So a particular index, suppose I take index 1. So AI means the element in array A. This is denoting which vitamin. Means if I eat this food item, which vitamin I will be getting from it. And that index only in BI, it denotes food item. So is the input clear to you? What the first statement wishes to say? Okay. And then it is telling that the question also gave me a single integer C, rep- which represents a value of a single vitamin to you. Another integer it has provided me C, correct? So I will buy some of the food items so as to maximize this equation. C into X minus Y. I have to maximize it. And uh, C is provided in the input. But what does this X and Y signify? So it is mentioned in the question that X represents the number of distinct vitamins eaten. X means number of distinct vitamins. And Y represents the means if I have eaten X number of distinct vitamins, then the total cost of this X number of food items, not the total cost of the entire B array. Means the total cost of, suppose if I ate vitamin 1, vitamin 2, and vitamin 3, then Y is representing the total. Suppose vitamin 1, the cost was okay. For now, do not consider that uh, there are multiple food items with the same vitamin but different cost. For now, if I only consider uh, each vitamin having only one cost. So this is my case 1. Like vitamin 1, it will only have one cost in vitamin B. Suppose the cost is 5 rupees, and vitamin 2, the cost is 6 rupees. Suppose if I ate vitamin 1 and vitamin 2, so I have eaten two distinct vitamins, so the value of my X is 2, and Y is the cost of the food products of these two vitamins, so 5 plus 6. So is it clear over here what does the input wishes to signify? Okay. So instead of writing this statement, if I write this statement, means instead of writing C into X minus Y, I convert this statement into like vitamin 1 I have eaten. So vitamin 1, vitamin 1 basically signifies that vitamin 1 which I have eaten. Uh, okay, for vitamin 1 and vitamin 2. So for vitamin 1, if I tell that I am getting C minus cost of vitamin 1 energy, and from vitamin 2 I am getting C minus cost of vitamin 2, and then if I add this, then do you think these two equations represent the same thing? C, like C minus cost 1 plus C minus cost 2, this simply boils down to 2 into C minus cost 1 plus cost 2. See, this is the same thing with the equation represent. X is 2, number of distinct vitamins eaten. I have eaten 2 vitamins, so number of distinct vitamin is 2, and cost 1 plus cost 2 is the cost of the food items of these 2 vitamins. So whether this equation is correct or not, or okay, anyone has any doubt in this equation? Okay, but I have missed one thing. I haven't discussed the case 2. Can anyone tell me what can be the other test case? Means I have only discussed the case where your means each vitamin is having only one cost. Like vitamin 1 is having cost 2, vitamin 2 is having cost 5, that way. Basically, I haven't discussed two edge cases, means two cases where you should have thought about this problem. Can anyone tell which two cases we haven't discussed yet? You can unmute and tell. Okay, so the cases which we haven't discussed yet is that suppose, yes, also in the problem I did not mention this thing, I hope. See, it also says that AI is from 1 to n, correct? Means the vitamin array, means the A array, it contains certain number of elements, and these the value of this certain number of elements, I am sure that it will be within 1 to n, correct? Means basically at most I can get n distinct vitamins which are present in n. Like the my array of A can be n, means at most I can get n distinct vitamins from A. My array, suppose my array of A can be any permutation of 1 to n, means my array will contain all the elements from 1 to n up to n, any permutation. So if this is so, then for this case only I will be getting n distinct vitamins in array A. Else for all the cases, some of the vitamins may be repeated. Like it can be 1 1 1, then 2 2, then 3 3, and 4, let's take. 2 3 4 and 7 8, 1 2 3, let's take like this. So this is my A array, this is my B array. So here you can see that for vitamin 1 I am having three different costs. So which cost do you think that I must include in my answer? Anyone please unmute and tell.
Minimum one.
Yes, correct. Minimum one. Why do we want to include the minimum one? Because over here, what I have said, like vitamin A, if I consider, then I will be writing it as C minus cost of 1. Means C minus the cost of a food item which is having vitamin 1. So if I wish to maximize this equation, it means that each individual equation must be maximized, correct or not? maximized means C minus cost of 1 I have to maximize. Then I have to minimize cost of 1. Correct? I have to, so among the food items which is containing vitamin 1, like C is a constant, so I can do nothing about C. But this cost of 1, I can do something about it. So basically, I will make the cost of 1 the minimum. Among whichever vitamin which is having vitamin 1, I will take the minimum cost food item, and that I will subtract from C. So this one will give me the maximum C minus cost of 1. Correct? So from here, in vitamin 1, the cost which I will be taking is 2. Similarly, from vitamin 2, the minimum cost, the cost of 7, and vitamin 3, I will be taking 1, and from 4, only one vitamin is present, so 3. So from here, C minus 2 I will be doing, plus C minus 7, plus C minus 1, plus C minus 3. So if you add them up, it will boil down to C into C minus 4 into C minus the minimum cost of 1 plus minimum cost of 2 up to minimum cost of 4. Correct? And see, this is only the equation. 4 is the number of distinct element, means the value of x, and this summation value is the value of y. Correct? But we haven't discussed another edge case. Suppose if I do C, if my C is equals to 1, then I know that C minus 2, if I do, then I will be getting minus 1. Correct? Do you think I must include this minus 1 in my answer? Like if my C is 1, then the cost of vitamin 1, if I consider is, then it is C minus 2. So C minus 2 is coming out to be minus 1. So do you think that I must include minus 1 into my answer? Anyone can unmute and tell. So the answer is no. Correct? Because if I include a negative and negative thing into my answer, then for sure my answer will decrease. So instead of minus 1, it is better that I will not pick only vitamin 1. I will give my answer as 0 only. Correct? So whenever my C minus minimum cost of any vitamin becomes less than 0, then I will not include it in my answer. Is this assertion clear to you all? That whenever my C minus minimum of any vitamin will be less than 0, I will not include. The reason is that it will decrease my answer. My answer decreases, but I want uh, to maximize my answer. That is why if any vitamin is there where C minus minimum of the vitamin it is becoming less than 0, I will not include in my answer. Also for 1 to n, the case is that it will be suppose if array A it contains all the element from 1 to n, then there is no problem. But for any repeated elements, then suppose 1 is repeating. So if 1 is repeating, means if any element is repeating, from that I can conclude that any of the vitamin is missing. Let's take a small example. Suppose n is equals to 3. So one of the cases 1 to 3 and any permutation of 1 to 3. So it is containing all the vitamins 1, 2 and 3. But suppose 1 is repeating, like 1 1. So I am left with only one place. Here, if I take 2, then vitamin 3 is missing. If I take 3, then vitamin 2 is missing. And if I again take 1, then vitamin 2 and 3 both are missing. So is this assertion clear that if any vitamin is repeating, then any other vitamin is missing? Is this clear or any problem in this assertion? Okay. So if any other vitamin is missing, then like first my pseudocode will be like this. Just a second. So my pseudocode will be like this. So I will be taking A as input, I will be taking B as input, I will be creating a vector from whose size will be suppose this vector name is V, or mini, let us take, which will be storing the minimum cost from uh, 1 up to n vitamin. Its size will be n plus 1, means it will be denoting all the vitamins from 1, 2, 3 up to n. And first I'm initializing minimum of each vitamin. So if that vitamin is present, suppose minimum of vitamin 1, instead of infinity it comes down to 5. Vitamin 2 is not present. So if vitamin 2 is not present, then no one will be changing the value of index, means vitamin 2 in my array. So it will remain as infinity only till the end. And vitamin 3 is 4. So from here I can see that if any element of the array is infinity, it denotes that that vitamin is not present in my array. Correct? So if that vitamin is not present only, then C minus mini, it is useless operation over here, because that vitamin is not present only. How can you do C minus the minimum of that vitamin? Correct or wrong? You all can give a thumbs up if this assertion is clear to you. Okay. Means if anything is infinity, then I will simply ignore that element. And if anything is not infinity, means basically I will be having another loop from 1 to n. So what this loop will do, this loop will consider a particular vitamin. Like for I is equals to 1, it means that I am considering vitamin 1. If I is equals to 2, it means I am considering vitamin 2. If I is equals to 3, means I am considering vitamin 3. So I will go up to n. So if the mini of I is equal to infinity, then I will simply ignore this, because that vitamin is not present only. Instead, after this I will be including, but as I mentioned, one of the case is that C minus minimum of that vitamin, if it is less than 0, then I will not include, else I will include. And also one thing you can see, that it is profitable for me to take the maximum number of C minus minimum of vitamin. Correct? Because C minus minimum of vitamin, it is a positive number. Like C minus minimum of any vitamin, this is a positive number, means it is greater than equals to 0. So if I increase this as many times as possible, means as many vitamins as I can take, then it is profitable for me only, because the answer will be maximized for all the vitamins that I am taking. That is why I will be considering all the vitamins whose C minus mini is positive. So I will be taking a summation variable as 0 for any vitamin. If C minus minimum of I is less than 0 or equals to 0 also, then I will be not considering that vitamin. Else, I will consider the vitamin. This is consider. So how I will be considering? I will simply be doing S plus equals to C minus minimum of I. And then I will be giving output as C. Is the pseudocode clear to everyone? Okay. For others, is it clear? Or anyone has any doubt in any of the statement? Okay, so if the pseudocode is clear, uh, let us see how we will be writing the implementation of the problem. Is my screen visible to everyone? Okay. So this was also a test case based problem. I have taken T as input. After that, I'm running a loop from T to 1. For each test case, I am taking input as n and c, because the first line has two integers, n, which is denoting the size of the array, and c, which is denoting the value of the c. After that, I have taken input in a, basically 1, 2, 3. This I have taken input in a. Another, the cost of the food items I have taken in b. After that, over here, the main logic starts. I initialized a vector named mini, which is having a size of n plus 1. Why n plus 1? Because the vitamins are 1 based index. See, the vitamins are going from 1 to n in the constraint. So if I initialize my array as n, then the size of my array is becoming 0 to n. Means that 1 is means vitamin 1 means index 0 in my array. So that will be creating confusion. That is why I have directly initialized my vector as n plus 1 only. Means if it is n plus 1, so it is containing elements from 0 to n. If it is containing from 0 to n, means 1 to n, all the vitamins are included. And everything I have initialized as infinity. INF means int of max. And I knew the maximum the vitamin can get is 100. Suppose if instead of 100, if the maximum of vitamin should be int of max only, then I must not have initialized it with int of max. Like instead of infinity, suppose it is 2 to the power 31 minus 1. So what thing should you have initialized it with? A very large value instead of 2 to the power 31 minus 1, like a large value like long max. But I knew that the vitamin, the maximum it can get is 100, and the maximum number it can be 100. So the value it can maximum go is up to 10 to the power 4. So my infinity is very large than 10 to the power 4. That is why I have initialized with INF. You can also initialize it with any large number. For example, a number like 50,000, 60,000 also is okay for this question. Instead of infinity, you give 60,000 or 70,000, like that. You will get the correct answer only. Then from 0 to n for each vitamin. A of I is denoting the vitamin. Each vitamin I am finding the minimum of the cost and the vitamin I have taken till now. So basically, what the loop does is that it only calculates the minimum of a particular vitamin. This loop, after I explain the code, I will explain how this loop is running. For now, just understand that this loop is considering minimum of any vitamin. Okay. And if the vitamin is not present, see, then no one replaces this loop. Like A of I, suppose if a particular A of I is not present, then obviously minimum of A of I will never get updated. So that vitamin is never updated. So the value is always uh, staying as infinity only if the vitamin is not present. Then I have taken a variable as S, which will be storing the summation. Then I am going from 1 to n, means I am traversing for all the vitamin. If the vitamin is infinity, means if the vitamin is not present, then I am continuing. And if the vitamin is present and the vitamin is greater than equals to 0, then I am considering it in my answer. And then I am giving the output as my output as S. Is the code clear to you guys? Or should we go for the explanation of this loop? Or is it clear to you all that how this loop is running? You all can write in the chat box. Okay, let us go for the explanation only. Suppose if I take an example from here only, like 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, and this. I am taking the last test case as my example. So 5. 5 means my mini is having now 1, 0, means the size of mini is now 6. That means 0 to 5 means 1 to 5 all the vitamins I have considered over here. After that, I am running a loop from 0 to n. Then mini of a of 0. What is a of 0? It is 3. Means third vitamin. Mini of 3 is equals to minimum of b of I. B of I means cost is 7. So 7, comma, minimum of a of I. So minimum of a of I, for the first one it is infinity. So minimum of 3 is equals to minimum of 7 comma infinity. So it is 7. So for 0 index I got vitamin 3. The minimum cost is 7. After that, if I move to the 1 index, so for 4, minimum of A of I is 4. So minimum of 4 means the fourth vitamin is equals to minimum of B of I comma mini of A of I. So minimum of B of I is 4, 4 comma infinity. So it is also 4. After that, this 2 means vitamin 2 also gets initialized to 1. Again, vitamin 2 gets initialized to 1. So the real logic comes over here. Again, I am getting vitamin 3 for I is equals to n minus 1. Mini of A of I is 3, means mini of 3 means vitamin 3. So for vitamin 3, I am taking minimum of B of I. B of I is now 8 and minimum of A of I. See, now A of I is not infinity because I have already visited vitamin 3 earlier in my array, and at that time this index 0 has already initialized my vitamin 2 as 7. So over so already I am having mini of 3 as 7. So now it boils down to minimum of 3 is equals to mini means mini of 3 is equals to minimum of 8 comma 3 8 comma 7, because earlier mini of I means mini of vitamin was containing 7. So I know the minimum from 8 and 7 is 7 only. So I'm considering 7. So after the loop ends, see it is containing all the minimum means any vitamin what will be the minimum cost. So this is the explanation how this loop is running. Is this clear to you guys? Can anyone unmute and tell if there is a problem? Okay. So for the next part of the PCB, Ayush will take up the discussion. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Surya. Good afternoon, everyone. Now I'll be proceeding with the PCG. Am I audible? Uh, am I audible?
Yes,
Yes,
Ayush.
Ayush, you are.
Just a second. Just a second. I'm just presenting my screen. Okay, so is my screen visible? Fine. So now first we will be reading through the question. Create binary string. So what the question states, you want to make a binary string of length n. You will be paid according to the following rules. For each occurrence of subsequence 0 in S, you are paid A coins. For 1, you will be paid B coins. For 0, 1, you will be paid C coins. And for 1, 0, you will be paid D coins. A note is given that the occurrence does not need to be continuous. 0 such that 0, 1, 0, 1 has 3 occurrences of 0, 1. How come? For this 0, we have two ones over here. Is it clear? So two occurrences come from the first 0, and for the last 0, we have one occurrence over here with 1. So we have 3 occurrences of 0, 1 right here. So for this string, we will be getting 2 into A plus 2 into B plus 3 into C plus D coins. I'll go through the explanation. Suppose 0, 1, 0, 1. So how many zeros are there here? Can I get an answer, please?
Two.
Uh, okay, there are two zeros. So the cost would be 2 into A, right? How many ones are there?
Same two.
Okay, so 2 into B would be the cost. Okay, how many 0, 1 subsequences are there?
Three.
3. 2 for this particular 0 and 1 for this particular 0. So it is 3 into C. Okay, and how many 1, 0 subsequences are there?
One.
1. So it would be just D. So I hope this note was clear that what it was trying to state. So what is my ultimate goal? I have to maximize the number of coins which I get, and I have to print the maximum value. These are the particular constraints given. At first, I have the number of test cases which I am supposed to answer, and corresponding to each test case, we have 5 values. The value of n, a, b, c, and d. N is the length of the string which you have to create, and a, b, c, d are the corresponding coins which we are going to get paid for it. These are the sample test cases for your reference. Okay, so first seeing through the constraints, what comes in your mind? And how many of you have tried this problem before? Yes, Somijit, you can tell. What was your approach? Could you please let me know?
Uh, for we can simulate like number of ones and zeros like from 0 to n. The number of zeros can be I and the corresponding number of ones can be n minus I.
Okay, that can be done. Fine.
Okay,
At
then
first, okay, okay.
The number of zeros will be I and the number of ones will be n minus I. Then for a fixed number of zeros and a fixed number of ones, we can calculate maximum number of 0 1 sequences and 1 0 sequences. Like to get maximum 0 1 subsequences, we can place all zeros at the left and then all ones at the right. Then the number of 0 1 sequences will be simply but number of ones, a product of number of ones and number of zeros. So, in order to get the maximum sum for a fixed number of ones and for a fixed number of zeros, we can simulate initially all the zeros will be left, then we can calculate number of 0 1 sequences. Then we will push 1 0 to the right. So, number of 0 1 sequences will be reduced by 1 and number of 1 0 sequences will be increased by 1. Then we can simulate to get the maximum sum and like two for loops will be there and ultimately get the answer.
Okay, this is a good approach. Okay, I'll go through one of the approaches. See, seeing through the constraints, one can think that let me do one thing, let me make all the strings first, and then I test which gives the most optimal answer. But that cannot be the most optimal approach because then you'll have 2 to the power 100 strings as per the power set rule, and that will be very much high considering the memory constraints also. So what we can understand is we don't have to directly construct the string. It's some basic mathematics based on limits that we can use and we can get our answer. So we just go through this approach once. Okay, so let z be the number of zeros and o be the number of ones. For any single occurrence of element, what is the total cost? For any single occurrence. Suppose if there are only single occurrences of zeros, then what is the total cost of all the zeros? Anyone please unmute and let me know.
A,
Yes?
uh, only A
Only
into
A. Are you sure? There are Z number of zeros. Let
Z
Z be the
into A.
number of zeros.
Z into
Huh?
A.
Yes.
A into
Right. A into Z will be the answer. And what would be for number of ones?
O into B.
Yes. So it will be B into O. So for single occurrence, we can calculate that if I fix a number of zeros and correspondingly the number of ones, for single occurrences, this would be my total cost. But now the problem is to find the formula for cross occurrences. Suppose to find 0, 1 and 1, 0. So in this case, we'll be requiring some mathematics. Okay, so at first I would like to know what would be the total number of 0, 1 and 1, 0 pairs which you will be getting in the whole string. Suppose this was the string. What was the number of 0 ones here? And what was the number of 1 zeros here? Can anyone answer?
0
For
1 3
zero
and 1
1
0.
it was 3 and for 1 0 it was 1.
Yes, right. So if I add these two, I get a total of 4. How can you get 4 directly without even counting? Mm. So were you able to get a formula? Okay, I give you one more thing over here. Now tell me what would be the number of 0 ones for this and number of 1 zeros for this.
for 0 1 3 and for 1 0 2. No,
A-
2 not.
Are you sure for 0 1
Uh,
it's 3?
uh, no, 4. Wait.
Okay.
2, 3,
Yes, you're right. It's
4.
4. It is 4.
Yes.
And for 1 0,
103.
are you sure it's 3? For this one, it will be 2.
Mm,
For this one, it will be 2. And for this one, it will be 1. So it will be total of 5. If I add this, the total number of pairs is 9, right? So what is ultimately the total number of pairs which I am getting? Try to think it in terms of number of zeros and number of ones. Okay, let me know this in yes or no. Isn't it just same as number of zeros into number of ones? Just look through these two examples. Isn't it same as number of zeros into number of ones?
Yes.
So the total number of pairs would be z into O, right? Let me consider this value as k for now. So now let number of 0, 1 pairs be equal to x. So what would be the number of 1, 0 pairs? What would be the number of 1, 0 pairs over here?
K minus x.
K minus x, right? Okay, so now what would be the cost for cross pairs? Total cost for cross pairs. When I have x for number of 0, 1s and number of 1, 0s is k minus x. What would be the total cost of cross pairs? Okay, I'll be writing one expression and tell me if
AZ
it is.
plus
Huh?
OB.
Yes?
AZ plus OB
CZ.
plus X plus K minus X.
Don't have to be get it so complicated. It is in simple cx plus d into k minus x. Tell me if I'm right or wrong. Am I audible?
Yes. It is right.
It is right. Okay. So if I just write this normally, I get this as d into k plus c minus d into x, right? So now there are two cases over here. If c is greater than or equal to d, and if c is less than d, what would my main objective would be in this case, and what would be my main objective in this case? Am I audible? Acha, till now whatever I have told you, were you people able to understand? Or if you have any confusion, you may ask. Fine. If c is greater than or equal to d, can I say that this term is positive? Yes or no?
Yes.
So at this point of time, I would look to increase x That means I would look to increase the number of 0, 1 pairs, right or wrong?
Yes.
Okay. And if the number of C is less than D, that means this particular part is negative. That means the more I increase the number of 0 ones, the whole value will start decreasing. That means I should aim to increase the number of 1 0 pairs or aim to decrease the number of 0 1 pairs. Able to understand?
Hmm.
So in this case, where I have a maximization and minimization case, then I can use the concept of limits over here because this x is a variable value. So in the first case where I have to maximize, I can just tend the limit to k to get the answer for this particular part. What would be the answer for this limit?
CK.
C into k. And for the second case, where would the limit actually tend to? Where would the limit tend to in the second case? I have to try and minimize the number of 0, 1 pairs. That means I try and go near to 0. Yes or no?
Extends 0.
So it tends to 0. So in this case, the answer for the limit would be d into k, right? So are you able to observe anything from these two expressions? From these two expressions, we can actually get the maximum number of cross pairs which we can get for the given number of zeros and ones. Can I tell if you have to maximize, the only thing I have to do is max of C comma D into the value of K, where K is equal to number of zeros into the number of ones. Just tell me if I'm right or wrong,
Right.
right? And what was the number of single pairs, which I discussed earlier?
ZA plus OB.
Yes, AZ plus BO. So can I tell that at each point of time, my answer would be maximum amongst all the sum of single and cross? Just a second. Each time my answer which I'll be taking, it would be the maximum of answer comma single plus cross pairs, single elements plus cross pairs I'm able to make for that particular set of 0 and 1. This would be my answer. Just tell me if I'm right or wrong.
Right.
Okay, so this would be a final answer, and ultimately we can go on to print this. So I'll just show the code once. Is my screen visible? Is the code part visible? So that's what I've done here. I've taken the max of C and D in a variable X over here, and I've initialized the answer to 0 at first. What I'll do is, here I refers to the number of zeros. It ranges from 0 to n, both inclusive, because in these cases, I can have cases wherein I can have either no zeros in my string or either my string can have all zeros. Then correspondingly, the number of ones over here, which is y, is n minus I. So the number of single pairs over here is as usual a into y plus b into I. which I had explained earlier. And the number of cross pairs would be simply the max of C comma D into the number of ones into the number of zeros. Ultimately, in my answer, it would be the max of single plus cross across each step, and finally, I'll be printing this answer. So, was this explanation clear, or you have any doubts?
Clear.
Clear, right? So now we'll be jumping to the next question. Avoid primes. So first I'll be reading the question. You are given an integer n and must construct a permutation p of integers 1, n. So what do you mean by permutation? Can anyone let me know?
Sequence of 1 to n integers arranged in a random manner.
Correct. And also you have to mention that each integer occurs exactly once in the array. So it stated that you define f of p as number of integers I from 1 to n. The array given over here is a 1 based index. So for the n minus 1 starting elements, you have to find those pairs such that minimum of p of I, comma p of I plus 1 is prime. This is f of p. Your ultimate goal would be to print a permutation such that f of p, the value of f of p is as minimum as possible. And if multiple permutations exist, you can print any. So is the question clear? And as you can see, the constraints are really high. So we cannot test each and every permutation, and we have to direct go bang on creating one particular permutation. So let's start with the whole intuition. Suppose consider that I have three integers a, b, and c. Suppose a is less than b is less than c, right? So what would be the minimum of a and b?
A,
A. And what would be the minimum of b and c?
B.
B. Fine. So was this part clear? Try out this one. What would be the minimum of a and b?
B.
Correct. What would be the minimum of b and c?
C.
C. Right. Okay. Now tell me what would be the minimum of a and b?
B.
And what would be the minimum of b and c?
B.
Fine. So is the third test case giving you some hint over here? Are you getting some hint through this case? Just tell me yes or no if you're getting some hint regarding the question. Okay. And now this is just a general question. Are all prime numbers odd? Just answer in yes or no.
Yes, except 2.
Except 2, right. And 1 is also not a prime number. So now I'll be giving you a few sequence of integers and you'll have to arrange them in such a way that you get this particular case. Can you tell me what would be the most optimal arrangement over here to ensure that the minimum over so that I can ensure that the number of prime pairs over here gets minimized drastically? Can anyone please answer? Just try it out.
Like between any two primes, we should place an integer that is less than both of them.
Could you please repeat once?
Like between any two primes like 5 and 7, we should place an integer that is less than both of 5 and 7, like 4.
Yes. Yes, right, right. Can I do this? And also one more thing. In between two numbers, if you have to place a minimum, can it just be any integer or does it have a specification?
Minimum integer. Yes.
Must not be prime.
Huh? Okay, let me make this clear. Why did I go through this approach? Because my aim would be that if I have three integers, if I take the middle one as minimum, and if that turns out to be non-prime, then my answer reduces drastically. So that is the main approach behind choosing this particular case. And now we know that except for 2, all even numbers are non-prime. So what we can do is in between two large odd numbers, we can place a minimum even number such that for these two pairs, the minimum is 4. For these two pairs, the minimum is 4. For these two pairs, for this pair, the minimum is 6. This pair, the minimum is 6. You can see that naturally, I have no prime numbers coming up over here. So did you get an idea that how can we make up this permutation? At least if I exclude the numbers 1, 2, 3, can you get an idea that how to create the rest of the permutation?
Yes.
Okay,
Bhaiya, can you repeat
so
it
now let's,
once? I didn't understand it
okay,
properly.
which part could you please tell me?
That putting an even number between the two odd numbers, like that.
Okay, okay, just answer a few questions which I'll be asking you. How many even numbers are prime?
Only two.
Only 2 is the prime even number, right? Rest, all of them are non-primes, right?
Yes.
So can I have an arrangement wherein I'll be plugging in two odd numbers and in between those two odd numbers I'll plug in an even number which is smaller than both of the odd numbers. Can you tell me why will I be doing this? Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
So as we know that even numbers are non-prime and out of the number of odd numbers and out of the two odd numbers which you are having in comparison, the even number is minimum compared to both of them. So when you consider both the pairs, you get an even number as the minimum answer over there. And as even number is non-prime, so we are able to reduce the number of pairs drastically. Tell me if I'm right or wrong.
Okay. Yes, Bhaiya, I got it.
Got it right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So now, as it is clear that except for 1, 2, and 3, how will you arrange these pairs so that you get the minimum answer? So now we focus on arranging the elements 1, 2, and 3. So can anyone let me know what could be the most optimal arrangement for 1, 2, and 3?
2 and
Such
3.
that there 2, 1, 3. Yes, right. So 2, 1, 3 will be the most optimal arrangement over here. And can I just tell that after writing 2, 1, 3, I can just concatenate this part directly over here, and ultimately this permutation only will be my answer. Can you tell me why? Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay, so try to understand this. Over here, the minimums are 1 and 1, right? Now, if we compare 3 and 5 over here, so the only minimum I get 3 over here, and rest of it would be the same as 4, 4, 6, 6, right? So how many prime numbers I'm getting over here? In all permutation cases, only one, right or wrong?
Yes.
So this is our ultimate approach to this particular question, but there is an edge case. Can anyone tell me which is that edge case?
Like if the number of primes are greater than non-primes.
No, that is not the edge case. It is something related to the input size.
Uh, if input is less than 2 or something.
Yes, if the input is exactly 2, because what we have discussed the case over here is for 3 and above 3. If the input is 2, then what will be the answer? If n is equal to 2, what is the answer?
Sorting in ascending order.
Just simply 1 and 2 will be the answer, because the only minimum you'll be getting here is 1, which is a non-prime. So ultimately there are the value of f of p here will be 0, and in rest of the cases from 3 to n, you make these kind of permutations, the minimum answer for f of p which you'll be obtaining is 1 only, because 3 would be the only prime number you'll be receiving in that case. So let me know if you were able to understand the approach or not.
Yes, clear.
Everyone,
Yes.
fine. Okay, so I'll just brush up through the code once. Okay, so you can see that I have included the edge case over here, that if n is equal to 2, I just print 1 and 2 and I'll continue. Else I take a temporary vector over here, or a temporary array. And what I'll do is, at first I'll push the elements 2, 1 and 3. And now I'll start my loop from 5. And at an increment of 2, what I'll do is, I'll push I and I minus 1. Are you able to understand why I'm doing this? I and I minus 1.
So that the minimum is non-prime.
So that the minimum amongst the two odd integers is always even. Right? And if n percentage 2 is equal to 0, that means if n is even, I have missed out on an element, and then I'll push back n over here. And then correspondingly, I'll print my array. So this is the only simple approach to this particular question. Were you all able to understand this one?
Yes, clear.
Yes, Priya.
Fine. Okay, so now going through this question, sortable subarrays, easy. This is the easy version of the problem. Here, n is less than equal to 50 and a sum of n less than equal to 500. An array A is called sortable if it can be sorted in strictly ascending order with the use of the following operation any number of times. Choose index I and a positive integer x and update A of I to A of I mod x. Strictly ascending order means A1, A2 in this order. Your task is to find the minimum number of sortable subarrays of A. That is, how many pairs L of L and R exist such that this thing is possible. Let us go through the number of constraints once. So the number of test cases which we have to answer at max is 100. N is 50 and A of I is around 10 to the power 9. So does this constraint tell you something? Uh, what are you able to make out of this constraint? Am I audible?
The constraints are very small.
Yes, right. The constraints are very small over here. So in this case, when the constraints are really small, can we think of any brute force option over here to do it? Chalo. Okay, now just a second. Okay, so let's consider the first test case itself. 2133. I just pick up any particular subarray over here. For example, 133, right? Is this sortable?
Yes.
Fine. How is it sortable?
Like we can choose index
Okay, suppose consider the indices to be 0, 1, and 2 for this, right? Can you tell me what is the smallest possible case of an ascending array? Smallest possible case of an ascending array. Is my question clear?
smallest possible case.
Yes, smallest possible ascending array case. That means I take the smallest number. The next number which I take is also smallest, but yet it is bigger from the previous number. And similarly, we go on.
Like it must be a like common difference must be one.
Yes, common difference should be one, right? So 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. Because they have told that we have no restriction or limit to the number of operations, so we can greedily try to create this particular array and check that if we are able to make any such kind of thing or any such kind of increasing array, that means this particular subarray is sortable, right or wrong? Okay, so now we'll be considering the values over here. 0, 1, and 2. Can I convert 1 to 0? Yes or no?
Yes,
Just
yes.
like mod one,
Using mod 1, right. Can I convert 3 to 1?
mod two,
Mod 2, right. Can I convert 3 to 2? Uh, was the question clear? Can I convert 3 to 2?
no.
No, right. So 3 remains as it is and rest of it converts. So I can tell that as this is increasing, so this array is sortable, right or wrong?
Hmm.
Chalo. Okay. Okay, so now what I need to consider over here is to greedily check from the previous element that if I can create this particular element to 1 plus the previous element, right? If I am at 3 currently, what would be my aim? To convert it to 1 plus 2. If it is possible, I can always convert it to this particular answer, else the answer remains as it is and the last value would be updated with this particular value. Right or wrong?
Hey, Bhaiya, can you repeat?
Okay, just a second. So primarily what I did over here, I was trying to convert it to this particular array, right? This was my target array, right?
Yes,
But what I got, this one, right? Why did I get this one and not this?
because 3 was not convertible to.
Yes, 3 was not convertible to 2. So in these cases, what we do is we sorry, we initialize a variable named last value to 0 to greedily try and change this particular element to 0, right? So if this can be changed to 0, so this element would be overwritten as 0 and the last value would be updated to which value?
1.
1, right? Now, if this is convertible to last value, which is 1, then what can we do is, then what can we do?
We can update it to 2.
Yes, we can overwrite it to 1 and update the last value to 2. But now what happens over here in this case? It is not convertible to 2. So what do we do now? Was my question clear?
Hmm.
So what can we do now here?
Like we can check if it's greater than the previous element, then it's okay.
Yes. So what can we do is over here, if this is not convertible, then there is no overwriting of value, but the last value gets updated to 4. Tell me why? Not to 3, but to 4.
Because if it would have been comfortable, then it would have been updated to 3, but it is not
Yes.
updated. That's why.
Yes, it was not updated to 3 and hence 3 is still over there. We could not overwrite it. So the previous value would be the last array value plus 1. So now is this clear?
Yes.
So what could be so based on last value, what could be the check if converting to this is compatible or not? Can I say if this is the temp array, then temp of I minus last val. If it is less than or equal to the last val, it is not convertible. Just try this out and let me know if I'm right or wrong. Am I audible?
Hmm.
And am I right with the logic?
Tempi means like the updated values array.
Temp of I refers to the current value of this temp array. This is the temp array. It refers to the current value. Like suppose temp of 0 means it refers to 1. Temp of 1 refers to 3. Temp of 2 refers to 3 here. This is the temp array which I have. I'm asking that suppose if I have to check if this is convertible or not. So how will I check that? Can I say that if temp of I minus the last value is less than or equal to the last value, then it is never convertible?
Hmm.
Okay. Otherwise, when it is convertible, so what value will I use to update temp of I?
Temp of I minus 1.
Are you sure? Temp of I minus 1. Temp of I, it will be modulo something. I just gave some value over here. Tell me if I'm right or wrong, if I'm updating with this. Am I clear with my approach? Or do you people have any doubts?
Yes, yes, understand.
You're able to understand, right? And then ultimately, once my last val has been updated, so correspondingly, last val can be taken as temp of I plus 1, right?
Yes,
And then ultimately, I will traverse through this updated temp array and check that if it is strictly increasing, then obviously it is a sortable array, right or wrong?
yes.
So this was the particular brute force O of n cube approach which we have applied to crack this question. I'll show you the code for this once. At first, I'll be taking the basic input. These lines are for the basic input, right? I'll be keeping a count variable over here to ensure that I'll be counting it instantly. I'll be running the ith loop over here. So what I'll be doing is I'll be manually creating all the particular subarrays for this particular array. It will take O of n squared time and then further O of n check to ensure that it is sortable or not. So this is the particular subarray which I have created. What I'll do is I'll take it into another vector. This particular subarray into another vector. And as I told, we'll be initializing the last value to 0. Then we'll be traversing through the temp1 array and we'll be checking that if temp1 of k minus last val is less than equal to last val, that means it is not convertible. And what we do is we take the current value of temp1 plus 1 and update the last val with this one and we'll continue. Else what we'll do is we'll update temp1 of k and the last val will also be updated accordingly. Is this clear? Somyajit, is it clear?
Hmm. Yeah.
Fine. Now we'll be traversing through this particular array to check if it is increasing or not, and that too strictly increasing. For that, we'll be using a flag variable. And once if we get the flag is 1, so we can correspondingly increment our count. This is actually a Boolean expression that if flag 1 is equal to 1, this returns 1 and correspondingly our count gets updated and then we can print the count. And actually we have to print count plus n because it is not able to consider for one sized arrays. one size subarrays. One size subarrays are always sortable. So we'll have to return the answer as count plus n. So was this explanation clear or you people have any doubt?
Bhaiya, what is the meaning of line number 40? Can you repeat it?
Line number 40 मतलब flag equal to 1. What does that mean? It's a Boolean expression. When you have double equal to operators, then it corresponds to a Boolean expression. That if flag is 1, this particular expression returns 1 or it returns 0. Right or wrong?
Yes, yes.
So what will I do in this case? If my answer is 1 for this Boolean expression, my count gets directly updated. Count count variable in the count variable 1 gets added. Able to understand?
Yes, yes, understood, yeah.
Understood, right?
Yes.
Mm, any other doubts? Any other doubts?
No, Bhaiya.
No, yeah.
Okay, so by this we come to the end of our today's post contest discussion. If you have any doubts, you can stay back and ask, or else you may leave. Thank you very much.